it like a threat. And one of the things that can't be attacked is your self-custody Bitcoin. And one of the things that can be attacked is the ETF. You can't be exposed to that. That's my view. It's not a good idea. And by the way, that'll hit MSTR too. It'll probably hit other stuff as well. Friends and enemies, welcome back. Canadian Bitcoiners podcast.
Friends and enemies, welcome to the CBP. Want to be better informed? Listen to Len and Joey. Sponsors taken care of right off the top. Bull, Bitcoin, and easy DNS. The media is feeding the slop. It doesn't matter what topics discussed. Quality entertainment and information you can trust.
That's being planned or at least discussed. You know, we're not going to allow people to buy
entertainment and information you can trust. Send the guy some value, boost them with some stats. Bitcoin is a scarcity asset, I mean it's just a fact. Geopolitical, national, down to the local cloud.
Yeah, send us some stats. I totally agree. Friends and enemies, welcome to another edition of the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. I'm Len the Legend, and Joey's off this week. He's spending some time at the cottage. So filling in for him is Boomer Boomdust. Or what other names do you go by, if any?
Tom Henke, Dwayne Ward.
So yeah.
Who are the Expos top relievers of all time? Wetland.
They had Wetland. Yeah, they had. Gosh, I can't remember who else.
Who was better? Like Wetland during the Dennis Martinez era. Who was?
They never. Tim Burke.
Yeah.
If you remember him, yeah, nothing special. Whatever.
Ken Hill was the starter after that.
He was, yeah.
After Dennis Martinez, but I can't remember who are the closers.
Well, I appreciate you coming in once again for Joey, who has to take some time off to recuperate because he's been doing a lot of interviews lately, and we'll be talking about that in just a moment. And you know what? Let's just take the two things off my list. I got to get them done. Two sponsors. Let's talk about them right away. I see that. You got somebody popping in. Is that your
I'm
dog?
on vacation. I'm on vacation here, so it's a different ambiance here.
We'll talk about that in a sec. Do you want to do the Easy DNS role?
Easy DNS. They're the flagship sponsor, right? They've been around for how long now? Since the early days of the internet. You know, Tom.
2 years or so.
Oh, they've been around longer than 2 years.
Oh, for sponsoring us, they've been around since the late '90s.
Yeah. Like they're OGs in the space. All your web hosting needs. You like private servers, private emails, setting up like a domain name. They got stuff that'll help you do a website. Look, I signed up. I used the code in the
CBP
description.
Media?
I used it. CBP Media got 50% off. I hosted a website for a year. I did it for a year, and if I can do it, then like literally anybody can do it. I did have to call in a couple of times to the line, like the email. And Tim over there at EasyDNS helped me out. So, yeah.
So you were a client. You used the service. You understand?
Yeah.
So you set up your own website. You did it from scratch. You created. You registered a domain name. Yep. What's the domain name you registered to? Let's plug it.
Well, it's not active anymore because I just let it expire. Gosh, I wasn't a great client. Once that 50% off expired, and I had to sign up for another year. It's like it got too rich for my bloodline. Sats were cheap at the time. Like I need to stack sats. You know what? No, I literally wasn't getting any hits on the website, and I thought like, well, maybe I'll do it. I'll try it another time.
You got to talk to the right people. You got to talk to the people that can send bots your way. The people that does the word of the week. Bots. The word of the week I see on Twitter or X is slop, AI slop, right? And so apparently, I won't go into it. I just, a lot of people are getting upset at this. A lot of people are being called out for doing something, whatever it is. You know what? That's
no slop here tonight. No slop.
We don't slop over here.
This is a slopless place over here, the CBP on a Monday night.
No Henry Godwin over here. No, the other sponsor of the show is Bull Bitcoin, right? You're talking about cheap sats. I will say that sats are cheap all the freaking time. And I don't know what's 118.9 that's showing my block clock. We hit like 121 today, I think, right? So
I think we got even higher than that. We had a late night, one of those like patented Sunday night into Monday morning rallies.
And what the fuck happened? You know what? Whatever the fuck happened, Bull Bitcoin has you covered. You could buy, you could sell with them. You could do it on chain. You could use Lightning. My node is still down. I'm only a week behind right now in the syncing, so I can't check my node to see what are the fees, but I think they're still cheap. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just, I don't have anything to verify that right now. Bull Bitcoin, let's continually talk about them. aside from just buying and selling, you could do other things. You could pay your bills with them. So you can start paying your bills with your Bitcoin over there. That's rather cool. And also, if you have to send money to somebody, like an e-transfer or something, don't send cash. You could send your Bitcoin, which gets converted to cash. So a lot of different options you could do with Bull Bitcoin. Non-custodial, they've been around for a number of years. They have your best interest in mind, privacy, you name it. Check them out. Use our promo code below if you have not already signed up an account. They're available in Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Western Europe, probably some other countries too I'm missing. But either way, check them out if you haven't yet already done so. They are wonderful. And you know what? It's time to get Francis to come back on the show to talk a little bit more. Because in fact, there's one thing I missed about them. You could buy through the Bow River Credit Union in Alberta. Directly from there, you can buy Bitcoin. So just one of the recent things that Bull Bitcoin has offered. Anyways.
And their liquid wallet on mobile is slick. Really slick.
Not a fan of the liquid because that's a side chain, another chain, and that's
I like it. And I think it's a great option with Bull to DCA into liquid. I mean, we don't really have to worry about it right now because fees are so cheap. But trust me,
you could do the same with Lightning.
I like liquid. Liquid's kind of.
And then Lightning, you could use bolts if you want to then do a swap, and there's going to be a small fee associated with that. But whatever, lots of different options you have over there. I would suggest stick with Bitcoin only. That is the thing that I like, and there's reasons for that. I don't want to get into that right now. We'll talk about it more in depth. Let's talk about some boosts that came in, and we'll do some other things that I want to just get off my list. So Wartime sends 133 sats, a couple of beer mugs doing a cheers. So thank you, Wartime, for that. Farmer Eric, 200 sats, says, great information about light and diet. Is Jerry Seinfeld his brother on the carnivore diet? Talking about Safedine. He kind of does have that Jerry Seinfeld. An earlier, like not obviously Jerry's a little old now, but if you look at a Jerry Seinfeld from the 90s, kind of, there's a similarity. I had to laugh when I read that. Doug 525 sats. He says, great to see the return of the 40-yard dash question. Light, steak, and seasoned fruits, choosing that every day over a big dose of health-related fear and statins, I don't know, from the medical industry complex. And he does a salute from that.
Yes, statins are like heart medication if you have like high blood pressure.
Well, mine is still low. It's like 120 over 90, 120 over 80.
So well, maybe we can get you in a rant later on today and get you all worked up like you were last week, and maybe we can get that blood pressure up.
You know that the reality is, like, I get pissed, but I am pretty mellow for the rest of the day. So like I got pissed in the show, and I got pissed at a few other things, but for the most part, I wake up with a smile. I go to bed with a smile. That's the reality. Daniel B. I don't want to give his full name just in case he doesn't want to get doxed. He sends in 4,000 sats, and Daniel writes in, damn it, Jimmy. And Jimmy was the motherfucker last week. We railed on.
Yeah, poor Jimmy.
Fucking guy. And then Jer, 10,000 sats. Wow, it's quite a lot. So thank you very much, Jer, and everybody else. Said, really enjoyed all 3 releases this week. I don't think we have any releases aside from the 2, and these 2 are going to come out a little bit later since Joey's at the cottage. He's going to do the cutting up of this, so the audio feed is going to come out a little bit later. And yeah, so it's going to be a 2-episode week for people that are counting at home. All right.
It's the dog days of summer, Len.
It's not just the dog days of summer. It's just the scheduling is like I'll go. Oh no, you know what? Hang on, just taking a look to see if we have anything booked. Nothing booked this week. Like I'll give you some insider baseball on my end. It's my mother-in-law. She fell, cracked her hip, 2 locations,
oh, sorry to hear
2
that.
spots. This happened 2 weeks ago, and since then it's been a challenge. Luckily for her, she doesn't have to go for surgery. It's a cracked into place that surgery is not required. In fact, she's now back home. She came back today, and she's already going up and down the stairs. Incredible. So yeah, so like you can see, like I'm burning the candle on both ends too. So it's been fun. But how are things with you, Boomer? I haven't gotten to talk about you and your personal life.
They're great. They're great. On vacation right now. See, I sucked it up. Like Joey at a cottage. Couldn't...
He has no signal.
Yeah,
he has minimal signal. No, if he dials in, like literally, it's going to be like using landline AOL. It's pathetic.
CBP, there's always high signal at CBP.
There is.
Regardless of your Wi-Fi connection, right?
Do you want to disclose where you are, or do you want to keep that? Are you in Canada?
I'm in Nova Scotia, like home of the wildfire bands.
All right, let's talk
but
about
that. But I'm not in the woods. In case anybody's
better not be in the fucking woods. You get a fine of $25,000. We'll talk about that
in the woods.
In a little bit. All right. Let's just dive right into the show, right? Because there's lots to talk about. And the story that you wanted to, I think, bring up, you thought it was a story of the week, was Roman Storm, the Tornado Cash developer. And this past week, he was convicted for the unlicensed money laundering business. Now, for people who aren't aware what Tornado Cash is, that's an ETH type product, but it's used for hiding your tracks. And so the government was saying that this is a money transmitting business, and they're also sending money, or at least conspiring to have money sent over, or ETH sent over, to North Korea, which is a violation of sanctions. And this guy could go to prison for up to 5 years, apparently, and allegedly laundering over $1 billion. And there's some of this links included to North Korean hackers. There was a few hacks in the past few years with ETH, and they converted it right away to Bitcoin, right? So
I don't give a flying fuck about ETH.
I don't either. It's just
anybody can clip that and post that anywhere they want. I don't care. I don't care about Ethereum one way or another. But this story, I think, does have a lot of carryover to the Bitcoin world, because this is very similar to the Samurai guys. And you guys talked about Samurai a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week? Maybe was it with me? I don't remember. But you guys have mentioned the Samurai guys.
It was last week with Joey. I remember that now.
Yeah. This is similar, where the Samurai guys pled guilty because they were worried about getting a pretty harsh sentence. And this guy, this ETH guy, the Tornado Cash, he was found guilty. And this sets a really nasty precedent, I think, because these software developers are not, I guess they're found guilty, so I guess they are laundering money, right? By letter of the law. But these guys are just software developers that make mixers, that make tools that allow people to use their cryptocurrency in a sovereign way. And here we're having the authorities coming down and laying the boots on these guys. And sentencing is not yet, so we don't know what he's going to get. I think sentencing is not scheduled until later in the fall. It's October, I believe. It might be September. Don't quote me on that. It's a little while. But this coming on the heels of the two Samurai devs who pled guilty to a similar charge. This is a nasty precedent, in my opinion, and it's something that all of us in the Bitcoin world should be paying very close attention to.
So when you use Tornado Cash, I'm just reading it now, exactly the process. You have to deposit your garbage tokens, the ETH, into an address. Now, who controls that address is the question. If the address is controlled by their Tornado Cash people, or the Tornado Cash the community, then really they're responsible, right? Then they are essentially a money transmitting business. If this is done by the individuals, like if, for example, if I wanted to do a mixing and I use the service, but I'm the one that's sending, the keys are kind of held with me, then the money transmission service is not done by somebody else. I'm the one doing it. So it really is who's the one that's holding the keys and who's the one that's handing out the ETH in the end. That's the question.
And he was found guilty. So we're not going to sit here and start to discuss, like, is he guilty or is he not guilty? He was found guilty in a court of law. So take that for what it's worth. But I'm concerned of the chilling effect that this has for developers in the space.
See, here we have John is saying that it's the monitoring, the unlicensed money transmission, the money laundering charges have been mistrialed. So the big question is, it's the unlicensed money transmission stuff. And until that gets settled, I guess it's really going to be a dagger that's going to be over the head of a lot of developers. Because let's be honest, let's go back to, say, Bitcoin, which we should talk about because that's, what we all like and love, I hope. Now, Bitcoin, there is no central entity, right? Like if you want to fuck up Bitcoin, you can't go to the CEO of Bitcoin. You can't go to the president of Bitcoin and say, like, nobody exists. Like, it's a truly decentralized program or network, and it's really just node runners running fucking programs and miners just mining away. That's all it really is, right? So with respect to that, you can't say there's a money transmission going on here because there is none. There's no one entity that's holding it. But with respect to these mixing services, this could be problematic. And until this gets settled, I think we're going to just have this question mark what to do moving forward. But I think the reality is,
if you were a developer, are you more or less likely now to try new things and to come up with new ideas now?
It depends.
I think you're much less likely now.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? So I see what you're getting at, but if it's a centralized service where you're holding on to something like Wallet of Satoshi, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, is that a money transmitting? Yes. Right. They hold everything. So they could be in jeopardy in the future, potentially.
And that's why they pulled out of the United States. I believe they've returned. I believe they've returned. Maybe somebody in the chat can set me straight on that. But I believe they left for about a year. And then when Trump came back in, they waited a month or two, and then they decided to make their product available again in the U.S. It's just such a bad precedent. And this is not what I want in the space. Like, I want developers being free to develop. I want people to be able to use their ideas. And this guy, this ETH thing, I've never played around with ETH. I don't know how to use ETH. I don't know how ETH works. I don't care. But I don't like the idea that they're going around rounding up developers who are building sovereign tools, privacy tools, and putting them in jail over it. I don't like it. So while I might not be on his team, I definitely I'm concerned with the result of what's transpiring over here.
Well, fuck them. They played with ETH. They deserve to get burned. Fuck them all. All right, let's move on. I talked about this really cool project that's being released by GoBrr. That's www.gobtrrr.me. And it's called a solar bit. I'm not sure if you've seen this or heard of this. A really cool thing. This is a little device that captures the sun through 230-watt solar panels, and you could use this to power stuff like bit axes, like Bitcoin mining, running a node, and they're doing that stuff like that. Something that requires very little power. 30-watt power panels are in this little device. And this little thing tracks the movement of the sun, so it's trying to maximize the amount of electricity you could generate through the day. And the if you want to figure out like exactly how much you could run off this, for context, a bit-ax gamma that uses around 18 watts at a default setting. So yeah, I could see that as long as the sun is shining, it's potential that it could power the Bitcoin gamma to its full potential. And a Raspberry Pi, I took a look, uses about 25 watts. So you could use one of these little devices to do a lot. Anyways, before people go running out there and buying one of these things this is quote unquote free energy, the price is going to be a deterrent. The price for one of these solar bits is around 1 million sats. That's going to be like 1,200 USD, give or take. And even with that, these devices are sold out. There's been enough demand out there that people just wanted them, which is, I found it to be fantastic. But in the end, given how much power you could potentially generate, and say the hash rate of a bit-ax and the price of this, it's going to take about a gajillion years to basically earn your money back through Bitcoin mining. So it's still a very, very cool project, but really don't go out there thinking that you're going to make bank on this. It's not. The more than anything, this goes to show that you could do stuff like rudimentary mining and even running a node in remote locations that have absolutely no connectivity to the grid. In this case, they are showcasing running off a node off a Rock Pro 64. That is something similar to a Raspberry Pi. Very similar, very power It sips power, so it's really cool that they could do this. So it gives a possibilities for people out there to run your node just about everywhere. All you need is just a little bit of sun.
How was NHL 94 on Rock Pro 64?
It probably
does it run okay? Is Jeremy Roenick the best Is Jeremy Roenick the best player in the Rock Pro 64 version?
People run it on
NHL 94?
Raspberry. Yeah, you can run it on Raspberry Pi 4. So Rock Pro 64 certainly it would run. Yeah, because you'd run a variant of Linux like a Raspbian or something like that, and then for sure it runs fine on there. So Roenick's still the man. It's always gonna be the man. Yeah, for sure.
This SolarBit stuff's really good. Go check out their Geyser fund. They have a pretty good Geyser page. It's been a little while since I looked at it, but it's good. It's good. And Len's right. It's expensive for what it does from a mining standpoint, but isn't this just an amazing way of decentralizing mining? We're getting to the point now where people are messing around with building solar-powered miniature Bitcoin miners and nodes.
The node is the one I'm very happy to see. And let's be honest. Let's be honest here. When you're talking about using the sun to do this, you're relying on the sun to shine in order to power that node. So if you're going to transmit or broadcast a transaction at nighttime, it ain't fucking happening. You gotta wait for the sun to rise again for your node to finish syncing, just like mine, and then you could fucking broadcast your transaction. But still, you have the ability to do that just about anywhere as long as you have enough sun.
You can't You can't run your node where the sun don't shine.
That's right. Or else you have to find something to store that energy, and then you're talking about batteries, and that's a whole bunch of other things.
It's great. It's a great way to just decentralize this thing, and it's not going to make any money. Don't buy this thing thinking that you're going to hit a block, because you probably won't. But the more of these types of things that we have out there in the wild, the better.
Now you're traveling. You're out in the East Coast. Did you bring your node with you?
I forgot it. I totally was going to bring it. I swear to God, I totally was going. Not only my node, my miner. I was going to bring my BitAxe, my Canadian Bitcoiner podcast BitAxe. So I wanted to show my brother. I wanted to just kind of show it, and I completely forgot.
Oh my God!
It's still plugged in back home in Ottawa though, so it's still hashing on Solo Pool. So I checked to see if I hit a block, and no, I have not hit a block in the past 10 days that I've been on vacation.
And you probably, let's be honest, the likelihood of hitting one, If you do, though, remember your friends over here at the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. We would like to get a slice of the pie. No, I'm just kidding. It's all yours, buddy.
But all this technology is good. This is good. This is a sign that more and more people are building shit. And this is great. This is what we want.
So another sign that shit is being done is if you look at the number go up when it comes to Bitcoin mining. Right, with Bitcoin mining, we hit this past week. Well, let me just lay it out, because the price of Bitcoin has gone up quite a bit in the past year and change, right? And because of that, it's more economical to mine Bitcoin. And there was something floating around today showing the cost to mine one Bitcoin in a variety of countries, and it was showing Argentina was 16,000 USD to mine one Bitcoin, and Russia was very cheap. So I don't know what's how truthful this is. Bob Burnett was actually commenting it doesn't seem like it's accurate, but nonetheless, it's still just the fact that the price of Bitcoin has gone up. It's more economical to mine Bitcoin. So more equipment is being plugged in, being energized, and it's hashing away. We hit this past week I'm hoping I pronounced this right, zettahash. I'll call it zettahash. And that's an enormous number. And also that the Bitcoin hash rate, the moving average, hit a new all-time high. It was 931 exahash per second. Number go up. This is a huge number. And it shows you that there's a lot of energy out there that people want to convert into potentially Bitcoin. Is you're not right?
Yeah.
So the energy's somewhere, stranded or not, where the fuck it may be, but people are choosing to use that energy for mining Bitcoin.
This super bullish for this to happen in the middle of the summer as well.
And
it's incredibly hot outside, at least in North America, in Texas, for example, where they have a lot of these arrangements, where a lot of these big mining companies have arrangements with local energy providers to turn off when energy is scarce and there's demand for air conditioning. So to see that the global hash rate is booming now is especially bullish, because you kind of expect, going by the seasons, like you would expect that hash rate should kind of peak in the fall and in the spring, where there's not a lot of demand for heating and air conditioning all over the world. So to have it in August is extremely bullish.
Yeah, and you're a mining guy. You seem to be leaning to a lot toward it. Like, you look at this story, it's got to read it. Like you were talking about Texas, and 100% right. I can't believe they're not doing the European style where they're saying just don't run air conditioners, just fucking sweat it out. But you're right. There's a lot of energy is being diverted towards the grid rather than Bitcoin mining. What happens when we hit October, November, December, when the temperature starts to cool down? The Bitcoin mining is just going to absolutely skyrocket.
Yeah.
Now, there comes a problem, I think, sometime in the future when the price of Bitcoin gets high enough. Like, what happens to these energy producers? They'll look at Bitcoin mining as it's better than just selling it to residential users or commercial users or industrial users. They just rather mine Bitcoin.
I don't know. The supply demand will work its way out, and we're seeing more and more demand for data centers in general, right? With the boom in AI. So I see more Bitcoin mining competing with AI data centers than for residential and commercial. But it's good.
And it's funny.
It's good. This will create more energy. Like, there'll be more energy abundance, right? Like, people will build out more energy. If there are consumers for that energy, they will build out more energy to meet that demand.
Yeah. And
the way that Bitcoin works, I mean, I guess it's possible depending on like how high price goes and how fast price goes, but how fast it goes to get to that price. But there will always be more demand on residential because it's globally competitive, right? So there'll always be somewhere on Earth where energy is cheaper than where it is needed on the residential side.
And you make a really good point. You hit on one point where you're mentioning out the building out of generating electricity. And if you look at countries that are doing well compared to those that are not, the ones that have the ability to generate power, and a lot of power, there is a correlation between that and prosperity, right? Like, it's hard to have a prosperous country without having a lot of energy. It's very difficult to do so. If you
doesn't happen, there aren't any.
Right. But on the flip side, I could show you a number of different countries that are doing quite well that have a lot of energy and they are generating it. So, if this is going to help countries out there, developing nations, sort of kickstart their energy production, this I think is a good thing in the long run. It gives them the ability, right?
A buyer of first and last resort. An energy buyer of first and last resort. It's great. So overbuild and allow Bitcoin to suck up the energy at the beginning when there is no demand on the residential side, or lower demand on the residential side. When the residential side can take it, send it to the residential side, send it to the commercial side. Then build more electricity, and then the Bitcoin miner will take that excess electricity until it's needed somewhere else. It's perfect.
All right. This is a fucked up story. This one I want to talk about from the BBC. And they talk about the police got a £500,000 windfall because of seized Bitcoin. To make a long story short, there was some scammer over in the UK, and he was eventually captured by the police. So the cops, through their investigation, they seized a bunch of stuff like Bitcoin from this scammer. And the Bitcoin that was stolen by the scammer eventually was returned back to the owner or owners, but it was done so at their original value. As a result, because the price of Bitcoin went up quite a bit over the past year or so, there was a surplus of 1 million pounds that was generated from this seizure. What did he do with it? 500,000 pounds went to the police force, while the remaining 500,000 pounds was passed to the Home Office. Now, the question I have is, they gave the original value back to the people that had it stolen from them. What happened if the price of Bitcoin went down? Would they do the exact same? Would
I highly doubt it.
So essentially you're going to get the short end regardless of where the price is going, right? If the price went down, they'll give you back your Bitcoin. Price goes up, they'll give you the value of the Bitcoin at the time it was fucking stolen. Like that.
This is an awful story. This is awful. This really makes me angry. Like this.
I'm with you.
What if they were cars? Are cars like vintage cars, like antique cars, and it goes up in value? And they don't give you back the car, but they give you back the value of the car that was stolen when it was stolen? That makes no sense to me.
100%. See, this is a story that I find extremely and utterly bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Like it totally is. There's nothing about this you say, oh, they did the right fucking thing. No, they didn't. The only thing they did right was they captured a dude and they say, okay, we're going to give you back what you should get. But they didn't give back what they should have gotten, which is fucking too. So they kept it. They're keeping the 500,000 pounds from themselves, giving 500,000 pounds to the Home Office, and everybody's happy except for the people that were scammed in the first place. Now, there's people that were scammed. They shouldn't have been scammed originally. But still, let's be honest here. They fucking lost Bitcoin. Give them the Bitcoin that they fucking lost in the first place. Like it's total bullshit. And this shows you can't rely on anybody out there except yourself. The only person you could trust is yourself. It is up to you to make sure that your Bitcoin is secured properly. And if somebody comes knocking and saying, I need some Bitcoin because you have some bills to pay, you tell them the fuck right off. You give them fucking nothing. Those keys, they stay locked up and they never see the light of day, never go to the fucking internet. So shit like this is a story people should learn from. Total bullshit.
Do you think the people that got scammed here filed the police report and put in pounds how much they got scammed out of? So because they didn't put, like, you know what I know that it was Bitcoin that was stolen, but when they filed the police report,
yeah,
like do you put like I lost one Bitcoin or I lost X amount of pounds? Because if you said like I lost X amount of pounds of Bitcoin, well maybe then the police officers are saying, well, okay, well you wrote you filed the report in pounds, so I'm going to pay you off in pounds. It's still bullshit. I don't like it. Like it's ridiculous. Like clearly those police officers in England, they need their money, right? Like they're real busy. They're really busy over there. Like they have a lot of work to do. Like there are a lot of like memes that need to be stripped from the internet, and there are a lot of people that share a lot of stuff on the internet that need to go to jail.
I look at this and I hope this isn't just a UK. Like I hope this is just a UK style story. Is if the same happens to say somebody more local to us or in the United States or wherever, and the police capture the dude and capture the Bitcoin, I hope the fucking God that they give the guy or gal or people that
what happened in Mount Gox?
Well, they were trying to give him back the Bitcoin that they lost. Some of it they couldn't have given it back in totality because some of it was lost, right? So they're giving them this term is pennies on a dollar, but still it's the Bitcoin's going back to the people that
Quadriga as well.
I don't know how Quadriga if there was any settlement. I have no clue. But I know Mount Gox, the settlement was like, if you had 100 Bitcoin, I think you get like a portion of that back just because they didn't have the total amount when it was right. So in that case, I could say, okay, they're doing the right thing. They're not giving back dollars. They're giving back actual fucking Bitcoin or whatever else. The only thing I look at this story, like, what if they had a Melania fucking coin or a Trump coin or whatever? Those coins, they went so down. So like, right? Like, what are they giving them back the coins rather than the value at the time it was stolen? Like, come on, fucking bullshit. Whatever.
It's horrible.
We're seeing it was penciled to be 1/7. So yeah, if you have 7 Bitcoin that you had lost on Mount Gox, you'll get about 1 back. That's according to Mark from EasyDNS.
And it kind of worked out for Mount Gox because Bitcoin has gone up more than 7 times since that.
Wow.
Right?
You talk about
that's bullshit, right? From a dollar standpoint, a lot of people are going to get back more dollars than they had, but they're nowhere near on the value, right? If it's 1.7, because Bitcoin has gone up way more than that, right?
Yeah. Okay, landfill dude. We heard of this guy, right? We're sticking in the UK here. Right?
This guy's been on the show quite a bit. You guys have talked about this guy at least 3 times.
And you know, the last time
keeps coming up.
I think it was Joey.
Can't get
your vaccine.
Yeah.
So the landfill guy, the last time we brought it up, I seem to recall Joey saying that we'll never hear about him again. But here we are, we're hearing about him again. The reason being is, okay, for those living under a rock, this guy lost 8,000 Bitcoin when his hard drive was inadvertently tossed out and sent to a landfill in the UK. He tried very hard to get it, and it's fucking lost. It's gone. And even if he does find it, that thing is probably subjected to the elements, that hard drive, and it's fucking trash. There's probably no way to recover that. Either way, this guy, James Howells, he's turning the lost coins into the basis of a new DeFi project, aka a fucking scam project. And the guy is now officially a scammer. It's not the first time he's been officially a scammer, because back at the 2025 the Bitcoin 2025 in Las Vegas, which it's full of scammers, by the way, over there. But anyways, just this year at the Bitcoin conference, he was throwing out the idea of an ordinal-based token representing 21% of the wallet's value to fund a potential dig, with the token holders earning a cut if they successfully succeeded. But you know what? They never did it. This was left on a drawing room stage. This guy was trying to do ordinals. Fuck him. He's now moved on to DeFi shitcoinery, and he's calling this project the Buried Bitcoin, built on the Bitcoin network. More spam to be dealt with by node runners. And the tokens are not going to be backed by spendable Bitcoin. But the idea of the lost coins making the lost hard drive a symbolic vault. And he says, you have to multiply the very low chance of recovering the Bitcoin by the low chance the token would be recognized as a valid claim, and then by the high value of the Bitcoin. This guy's he's really stretching here. And he says that leaves some residual value, but that's not what it will trade on. It will trade on a narrative, he says. He said it's better viewed as a meme coin than a real investment. This guy is a fucking loser. Now he is doing ordinals, tried it earlier this year, it went nowhere. Now he's doing a DeFi shitcoin on Bitcoin, by the way, that is going to make it harder for node runners to deal with. I'm fucking experiencing it right now. The last fucking year and change of syncing up takes for fucking ever on a shitty computer. And he, like, this guy could just go fuck himself at this point. He could just officially fuck himself.
Earlier in the show, one of the boosters said that he was happy of the return of the 40-yard dash competition.
Yeah.
Like Joey brought it back. I've been campaigning to try to get a return of No Coiner and Bitcoiner of the Week, and this guy would win No Coiner of the Week for this week. This is like shit coiner of the week. This guy kind of smelled like scammy from the beginning. There was something off about him from the very beginning. The story never really seemed to make sense. Like, is anybody 100% sure that this guy ever had any Bitcoin at all? I mean, was this all like some plan to get some popularity and to have, people like you guys, like a reputable Bitcoin podcast with hundreds of thousands of views, like the CBP, to talk about this guy 3 or 4 times? Then he gets his name out there, and then the next thing you know, he's launching a shitcoin token. It's not backed by anything, so he can rug you. It's pretty scammy. If you fall for this, you had it coming. And
the people that, you're right. If people are gonna fucking go into this and buy into this meme coin, fuck you. Just fuck you. You deserve to have your Bitcoin lost. Fuck you. And
what I don't like, it perpetuates this type of behavior.
Yes, it does. So every time. Go on, sorry.
If this guy makes any bit of money out of this at all, stacks any type of Bitcoin out of this because somebody falls for it, then there's going to be another loser next week that's going to try the same fucking thing. And that's bad.
100%. You took the words right out of my mouth. You were damn fucking right on that. And it reminds me of that scammer I think is a scammer. The guy that claimed he lost his Bitcoin by downloading Sparrow Wallet, the fake Sparrow Wallet on the app. Yeah. Like, come on. And people were donating to him. I think he got 1.8 million sats last time I checked his wallet. And I can't check my wallet or check his address because I don't have my node running. It's still almost there. I keep harping on that fucking computer. Anyways, I just want to bring up a point that was brought up earlier. John was saying that in the UK they have landfill accidents. Boning needs to do any licenses. That's funny shit. And yeah, Mark is saying that's a real hostile app, though, I think. Like, it is, but if you've been in fucking Bitcoin, which he claims, fucking Jimmy, I can't believe we're talking about him again, claimed to have been in Bitcoin since 2017, and he got rug pulled in the Celsius fiasco. Like, you've been around the block a few times, and you have
how many people get rugged more than once? It seems like luckily I haven't been rugged. Like, knock on wood. Wood. Like I haven't fallen for any dumb shit. Maybe I will eventually. I hope not. Like I hope I never do. But I feel that if I fall for one of these things, I'm very unlikely to fall for another one. Like, right? Like you gotta. I'll be careful next time. And I don't know this guy Jimmy. I don't know. I never heard of him before last week. Yeah, like you guys said last week, he lost some money on Mt. Gox, lost some Bitcoin on not Mt. Gox on what was it, BlockFi? Celsius. And then again on this like fake Sparrow app on mobile. Maybe I guess it's possible. I'm not gonna. I don't know. Maybe but be careful out there, guys. Just be careful.
Yeah, I think for you, the way I understand it, and I don't want to get into how you're dealing with your Bitcoin, but if I were to guess,
paper Bitcoin, only paper Bitcoin.
Not only paper Bitcoin.
I have a BlackRock ETF in my TFSA.
That's the only way to go, buddy.
That's all I have.
No, but you have your own node, and I assume you set up your keys offline, and you're not subjecting that to any bullshit where you're going to get yield. Like you're staying away from. This is the right thing to do, right? I think that's the way you're doing that, and your paper Bitcoin is probably going to go tits up in a long enough time horizon, but you're doing it right. I think. I mean, if I use myself an example, I try to learn as much as possible from other people's experiences. And especially other people's experiences, which are very expensive for them to learn. And I like to learn from their losses, which is too bad because for them, it sucks. But for me, it's knowledge. It's their experience. I'm trying to include into my decision-making moving forward. And everybody out there should do the same. They should learn from other people's mistakes, where they lost their Bitcoin, their wealth, and try to do something that will prevent you from being subjected to the same type of loss. You don't want to be
There's no shame in making a mistake. There's no shame in making a mistake. And under certain circumstances, I suppose there isn't shame in getting scammed. Like I'm sure there are a lot of scams out there that are quite, difficult to notice, but there are a lot of them that are pretty obvious. So try your best. Always keep learning. Like you said, learn from other people's mistakes. And, if something kind of feels like a scam, do your homework first. Like always double check where you're sending your Bitcoin or what you're downloading to, or never put your seeds online. Like just be careful out there.
ABC saying y'all making Mondays better. Thanks. Love it. We are making Mondays good. Mondays typically suck, but since we're here, we make it better. And I'll say that, like, my first Lightning node that I ran a few years back, when I shut her down in totality, like I just got rid of it, and I'm gonna spin up another one shortly. I lost 60,000 sats in the end of that. That was not an expensive loss, but I lost, and that's what you want to do if you're gonna lose something. Lose it in a way that it's not expensive. And then the reason why I lost it is when I closed all the channels, there was one channel that was just small. It was 60,000 sats. I can't believe it was open, that I didn't quite close properly. And when I didn't realize it didn't close, and I wanted to just, format everything, and I didn't. It's like, oh shit, I did it too soon. And at that point, the 60,000 sats were lost. So that's another thing. If you're going to learn, try to learn on the cheap if all possible. And the cheapest way to learn is from somebody else doing the fuck up.
It makes me think about like how I've lost. I guess, again, this is just in theory, because of course I have all my Bitcoin in BlackRock ETF, right? So I don't actually, of course, but I'm just saying in theory.
You're a beacon of hope for a lot of us that want to.
Yeah. In theory, if I did, would have been like not consolidating my UTXOs.
Oh, it's terrible. You shouldn't do that.
Like, well, you're new, right? Like you're early. Like I remember like making a tiny, again, in theory, small DCAs every week or every day sometimes, and then you don't realize that you have to consolidate all these UTXOs, and then it potentially cost me, a couple of 100,000 sats to do a consolidation, because I was worried that fees were going to go even higher during that whole ordinal BRC20 thing that happened last year. So I guess that was the worst thing that potentially happened, that could have happened to me.
The one thing I could guarantee you is the fees are going to go up from now, and the fees will go down from now.
Yeah.
Like you got to find, if you wait long enough, fees will be down, but fees.
That's a horrible feeling though. That's a horrible feeling if you've got it. And again, like I feel for people that are relatively new, that are learning, and it's great. It's awesome. We all make mistakes. We're going to keep making mistakes, but you're self-sovereign. You've kind of got your head wrapped around the idea of like, I don't want to hold my Bitcoin on an exchange, so I'm sending it to my cold storage. If you're doing that, you're way ahead of most people. But you do have to consolidate those UTXOs because you don't want them to be too small. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's great. Like, go out and learn. Like, you're going to have to learn that at some point. It's not like a first day in Bitcoin type of lesson. It's more like a couple of months in Bitcoin lesson you got to learn. And what's great about it now is learning that lesson right now about UTXO consolidation is that fees are ridiculously low, like insanely low. I learned that lesson when fees were high. So I had to pay to the miners. Like, the miners made a good bit of coin off me because I hadn't learned my lesson. And it's a shitty feeling to have, 100 UTXOs and the fees are skyrocketing. And you're afraid that they're going to keep going up. So you want to merge them as soon as you possibly can.
You made the decision, the best decision based on the information available at the time.
Yeah.
Right. And hindsight, obviously,
I should have waited. Hindsight, right. I should have waited and done them last week when they were under 1 sat per VByte, right? Like, fees are going under 1 sat per VByte. I know that's like on the list of the things we want to talk about. So maybe this is like a good transition.
Well, I'll just talk
really
about it
cheap.
Very quick. The fact that we're at this stage where sub 1 sat per VByte is available. Interesting, but I have nothing really to add upon that. It's an opportunity for people like you in the past, that if you want to consolidate your UTXOs, it's an excellent time to do so, especially if you want to take advantage of the sub 1 sat per VByte. It can make it fucking cheap for you out there. So
I don't know if I've ever asked you, Landon, and I apologize if I did before, but what's your opinion on optimal UTXO sizes?
You know what? I don't have a hard rule. I 1 million seems right. 10 million seems right. I don't know if there's what really is best. I just know that a number that's 6 digits doesn't seem palatable for me. That's really the only thing I can say. So I wish I could add to it. I wish I could get more clear.
That's exactly what my answer would be, from 1 million to 10 million sats. And if you're new to Bitcoin, you still haven't accumulated 1 million sats yet, that's your first goal. So we
were doing 100 million sats for consolidation. We're not doing that nowadays.
100 million sats, like one Bitcoin per UTXO, one full coin per UTXO. Why not, man? Why not? Like, we don't have. The average plebland doesn't have Easy DNS and Bull Bitcoin sponsorship money. Like, they don't have access to how much money you guys are making over here to have those high rolling one.
I hear you, man. When I look at my stack, when I look at the 25 100 sats that I have in my cold storage, I get so fucking happy to see that. It's when the number continually goes up. So, yeah, man.
But I agree. 1 million to 10 million sats per UTXO is that's exactly what I think. Everybody try to get 1 million.
Let's talk about one last story, and this could be big news for the number go up crowd, maybe. And I'm not talking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I still don't know where the fuck that this is out there. Like it's lost in the sauce, and we're now more focused on Epstein and the Z-Man going around, and maybe fucking the Middle East. Anyways, SBR seems to be a lost cause at this moment, but who fucking knows? Trump, though, signed an executive order last week on Thursday, and he said the potential is out there now for Americans to invest in their 401k. This is like the RSP version in Canada. And they could put stuff like private equity, real estate, and Bitcoin into that. And I'm not sure how they could capture private equity into this. Like, it just seems odd, but anyways. But locking up Bitcoin for many years in a 401k, I mean, Bitcoin's already a scarce asset as it is. This could potentially make it more scarce. And they're saying this could open up the door for a bunch of new retirement funds out there that have control of a lot of money that it could flow into this. But did they already have the ability to buy Bitcoin ETFs? Right?
Yeah.
And again, with this, like, who holds the keys when it comes to this, storing your Bitcoin in 401ks? I don't know how this works. I mean, are you familiar with this? Like,
not fully, but this is not something that is completely new. I know that this recently passed, like Trump recently had an executive order, but I think I've been hearing about this for a little while. Don't like on-ramp and what's on-chain capital? Not on-chain capital. What's the one in from Austin? Casa is another one from Austin, Texas. The not on-chain capital. What are they called? Whatever. One of the early Bitcoin companies, the multi-sig, they provide some multi-sig, and they have this type of thing already, I thought. Now I read this and I'm like, well, this seems Unchained Capital. Yeah, there goes Mark in the chat, the real MVP. Yeah, Unchained Capital. They've been offering this type of product for a little while, so I don't know if this is something completely new. I don't think it's that big of a deal because, like what you just said, they could still buy the ETFs. So there are not that many people who are interested in Bitcoin to begin with. Like, where are we at in terms of penetration in North America? We're in the single-digit percentage for sure.
Easily, I would say a fraction of that's
a fraction of that. So of those, how many Bitcoiners actually believe in 401ks to begin with, right?
That's a good point.
There's not that many. And of the ones that do, they have MicroStrategy or Bitcoin miners or one of the ETFs. I mean, I guess it's good. Any time that there's more options, that more people are able to use Bitcoin in different ways, and Bitcoin is just kind of out there in the zeitgeist a little bit in a relatively positive way. It's a good story. It's good. I'm happy to hear it. But I highly doubt that this is going to have a whole lot of impact on anything at all.
I'm with you on that.
But why shouldn't this stuff, like even things like art, like why can't, like if you were to have a painting, like a painting that was worth a lot of money, like you should be allowed to put that, to protect that under your TFSA or RSP or 401k, right? Like, it just kind of makes sense. Like, why are we restricted to only a certain set of investments?
I don't know. It's hard for me to wrap my head around this. I'll be honest, it's hard for me to wrap around my head around a lot of fiat nonsense products. So this is another one, but maybe there's
probably a nothing burger.
Probably a nothing burger. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of hoopla when this came out, but I don't think in the end it's really going to change anything. But all right. I think it's a good time to end it, at least the Bitcoin side of things. Jeez. A lot of stories we didn't even talk about, but there's so many more we have to talk about on the other side of the fence. If you're listening, just come back tomorrow. But if you're watching online, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be another same old show. So with that, last words, Boomer?
Don't be a shitcoiner.
I'm with him. Don't be a Jimmy. All right. So the other side of the show, the notable stories. I have a bunch I want to talk about. Before
it never ends, right? Like these stories it never ends.
Do you have any that you want to just bring up before we dive deep into the ones that I have? Anything that just comes to mind that you want to that's just fucking pissing you off?
Yeah. Because like you said at the beginning, and again, if you're just tuning into the second half of this conversation, go and listen to the first. But as I said earlier in the conversation here with Len, like I'm on vacation out in Nova Scotia, and I like the outdoors. I like hiking and stuff, and I'm not allowed to go hiking because it's really dry outside. But yet there's a golf course not that far from here where these guys are smoking cigars, drinking beers, and nobody seems to care. But I'm not allowed to walk in the woods. Like it just boggles my mind. Like
wait, hold on. I gotta ask a question though.
Yeah.
And I like to think I play golf a lot. Maybe I do. I don't play golf well. What I like to do, this is fucking ridiculous, but for whatever reason, I like to hunt lost balls. I have no fucking reason.
Yeah.
There's something therapeutic from that. Even if you're having a shitty game, I could go look for balls, and you know what? I'm at one with myself. I love doing that. I have buckets of balls I found.
Len, when I was a kid, like starting when I was like 14, 15 years old, all the way up to when I was finished university, I ran a used golf ball business where I went swimming in water hazards.
Yeah.
And sold the balls. I guess it's been long enough now that CRA are probably not listening, and if they are,
allegedly,
I don't think it's. I don't know what the rules are with that, but like I did really well with this.
Yeah, and you know the funny thing is, I give away all the good ones. Like when I come with like the Pro V1s, TP5, I just give them away. I just don't want them. I give it to better golfers, and they can hack away with it. But what I'm trying to get at is, for me to find these balls, I a lot of times have to go in the woods. Right? Are golfers permitted to do that?
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
So for people who are just unaware what the fuck's going on, in the province of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick right now, you can't, because of the extreme heat, they're calling it, and dry conditions, you're at risk for causing wildfires by going into the woods. So there's a ban in effect that right now you can't do open fires, period. That's $25,000 if you do open fire. Beyond that, if you go into the fucking woods for hiking, doing camping, boom, another $25K for that. Some guy was a former Canadian military dude. I wish I remembered his name. He filmed his experience, went in the woods, just walked right in, and came out and then was ticketed $25K. Plus, there was a service charge on top of that.
A like victim's fee of $8K.
Victim's fee. That's
victim's fee.
Love it. So so that's what we're at. Like a few years ago, we had to social distance. Now you have to distance yourself from the fucking trees.
And I get it. It is really dry. Okay, I get it. That side of it. It's really dry. You can tell that it's really dry. What bothers me the most is the gray area of everything, and how none of it seems to make sense. Okay, no open fires, no fireworks. Okay, I can wrap my brain around that. Like, certainly a libertarian could make the argument that like I'll do whatever I want, and I could see that side of the story. But as a citizen, I'd be like, okay, like, it's really dry outside. I'm not going to have a campfire. I can wrap my brain around that. It's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to smoke cigars outside, or I'm not going to do anything with fire. You know, I can get there. And Len, I've seen this with my own two eyes. There were two paths that both lead to exactly the same place. Not that far from here. I saw it with my own two eyes. They both go to a beach. Right? And there is a few trees here and there, but it's not, I wouldn't call it like a forest. One of the paths was open, and the other path, which goes to the same fucking place, just a little bit more of a loop, a sign across it saying "Do not enter" because of provincial forest mandate, whatever. They go to the same place. They're almost right next to each other. One of them is open. One of them is not. It doesn't make sense. Golf courses are still open. Bullshit. It doesn't make sense. Like,
it's fucking bullshit.
It's wild.
Right? And on top of that, it's public and private. So you could own your own fucking plot of land that has fucking a forested area. You own the fucking area. You can't go inside your own area. Like, how? And you subjected to 25. They somehow find out that you got in there. The fuck is that?
The only thing that I can think of that kind of makes sense is that, and it does make sense from what I know about the financial situation of a lot of the Atlantic provinces. There's just not a lot of resources here. So if one fire were to break out, they could probably manage it. But if more than one fire broke out, they literally don't have the money.
So all it really is, you need a half dozen wackos go out there and decide, you know what, I want to make this into a deal. And it's virtually impossible to stop. And if you really wanted to, you know what, I don't.
It's not the hiker that's going. It's not the. Now, Len, like you, I've golfed a little bit in my day. I've also done quite a bit of hiking. I know the type of people who like to go play golf, generally, and I know the type of people who like to go hiking, generally. One of these groups is much more likely to be drinking and smoking outdoors than the other. Yeah. And it's not the hikers.
Yeah.
But somehow 100%. They're the ones that are not allowed to do what they want to do. But the golfers,
in the middle of summer where things are the most beautiful, the greenery, the nature, animals, and you can't fucking witness it. It reminds me of what happened just a few short years ago. It seemed like forever, but it wasn't. It was not forever ago. And I remember clear as day when they said, "Oh, you got a social distance, no groups," and then our premier goes up to the fucking cottage. Ontario Premier, I'm saying. Sorry, I know you don't live in Ontario, right? Like, it's bullshit. It's these stories about rules, they apply, but not for everybody, right? It's kind of like the Bloomberg today was talking about people need to take. I'm going into a tangent here. Michael Bloomberg was saying that people need to take public transit as a way to try to protect the planet. The guy owns 2 or 3 airplanes, several helicopters, countless fucking cars, and he's telling us that we have to take public transit. This guy is fucking flying from place to place for photo ops and meeting his friends. Like, really? Like, I have to fucking drive to go to work. You're fucking flying for fucking pleasure. Like, which of the two is a necessity, right? And who's the fucking problem here? And I could assure you I'm not the fucking problem, but yet somehow you're painting a picture that I am. And it's very similar to this. You want to go for a fucking walk in the woods. You want to go enjoy the beautiful summer that exists. It's a very short season, but in the East Coast, and you want to go and enjoy it, you can't. It's fucking bullshit. I look at this and I go back to the GTFO movement, and it's picking up, and it's not because of me. Like, I have no fucking, I'm seeing that there are people of means that are just doing it. They've had enough. Yeah. They just and they're picking up their bags. They're going somewhere else, at a place where they could potentially live out the remainder of their life, or at least a period of their life, and then they can move somewhere else. This is fucking brutal. When you do this, when you're forcing people to do that, it's a brain drain. Then you're taking their wealth with them, and then the taxation dollars that's possible. And whatever, we'll replace them. Don't worry. We have tons of people that are going to replace them, but they're not going to be able to produce at the same level that these people could. And you know what? More bullshit like this. This is what we need. More fucking bullshit like this.
And Len, just talking to people around here, people aren't that upset. That's what bothers.
I fucking believe that.
People are not that upset. They're very concerned about wildfires. They're very concerned about this and that. And then you start talking to them, and it's like, well, what about the golfers? Why aren't you upset that you can't do anything you want, but the foursome of golfers from Ontario that just rolled in, they're allowed? And then their face kind of glazes over, and they just can't process.
Do you remember back in the social distancing days? And they were telling us that we couldn't play golf. Like of all the things, now I know it's kind
fishing.
of
going fishing. You weren't even allowed to go
in the middle
fishing.
of nowhere. Yeah, you're fucking fishing.
Yeah, like the trout are going to give you COVID.
Yeah, like fuck. It just this heavy-handed approach, and you know what? The people that impacted the most are the people that were living in confined areas like apartments and condos and stuff like that, where they didn't have a backyard which they could go and do stuff. You're confined. Those are the ones, and especially with those with families, like how fucked up of a situation is now. You can't go to fucking into the woods. I want to see what transpires. It's fucking bullshit. I want to see what transpires from this guy that got fined at $28,000.
Did you watch the video?
Yeah, in totality, it was like 5 minutes or something like that. 7
It's
minutes.
A little weird. He seems like a good guy. Like, mad respect to the guy. He's a veteran. He's served overseas. Like, he's done a couple of terms. I got nothing but respect for this guy. But he did seem to be kind of looking for trouble.
No, he
was perfectly respectful. Yes, he was. But he even did say to the officers, like, it's like, yeah, I'm not going after you. I want to get a fine. Please fine me so that I can go after the premier. He wants to test the legality of it. Like he couldn't test the legality of it unless he got fined.
Correct.
So he went out purposely to get fined.
Yeah. And he did it in a way that didn't interrupt anybody. He didn't cause a sting.
Yeah.
He talked to the people and said, I'm not going to put you on camera.
Yeah.
I'm going to get fined.
He was perfectly polite.
Yeah. They made him wait a while to get the fucking ticket, by the way. But other than that,
can you imagine? Can you imagine those like federal government workers in that office, like sitting around, like probably playing Mario Kart, and then when this guy rolls in, and they're like, "What do we do now? Like, we actually have to work? Like, must have been a strange conversation behind the scenes for them."
Well, things you can see are not getting better over there. And you know what? On a national level, things aren't getting any better either, because Canada has reported that they lost over 40,000 jobs in the month of July. And this was a terrible blow to the estimates. Nobody was expecting this. All the economists out there that, these Keynesians, they were all expecting numbers to be far better. And on top of this 40,000 job loss comes also with the public sector grew by 4,000 jobs in that same time period. So that grew, but the other ones lost a significant amount. Then it was 44K jobs that were lost in the private sector altogether. I look at that and I'm not sure. Is this a response to the tariffs? Is this just a global economy slowing down and Canada's getting caught up in it? I don't know what the fuck's happening here.
But I don't know. The tariff stuff seems a little bit overblown. I'm not going to say that there aren't people affected by the Trump tariffs. There clearly are. Their businesses being affected, absolutely. But these tariffs only apply to products that are not compliant to the Canadian, U.S., Mexico free trade agreement. And from my understanding, something like 92 to 95% of goods that cross the border fall into this category. So only a small portion of goods that are being exported to the United States are actually facing these tariffs.
What about lumber or aluminum or steel?
Yeah, aluminum. Well, there's one of them. Aluminum definitely is facing tariffs for sure. But you kind of play this out. Like, okay, so if there's less aluminum or lumber, let's use aluminum as the example. There's less aluminum being exported to the United States. Well, all that kind of means is that there's more aluminum available to Canadians who need to buy aluminum. So all these different types of, construction types of businesses or different types of manufacturing facilities that aluminum is an input for them, they're now getting a discount on their aluminum because all the Canadian aluminum producers have excess supply. So it's not
that supply is going to last for so long. I would imagine, I don't know the economics of this, but I assume that discount would mean that if they continue to offer that discount, they would then be in a cash flow negative situation. So I assume that they're selling off whatever stockpile they have, whatever inventory they have of aluminum, but anything that is going to be new that they're going to be able to produce, it's not going to happen because there's just no economic incentive to do so.
I'm not sure, and it's not that simple, right? It for sure, it's bad for producers of aluminum, for sure. Not going to,
and it's not like Canada's an aluminum country that the economy revolves around fucking aluminum.
No,
doesn't.
I mean,
but it's a part of it.
It's a part of it, and especially in Quebec, it's a significant industry in Quebec. And I'm not making light of the people who work in that industry at all. I'm not saying that their jobs don't matter. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is there's aluminum consumers in Canada that are now getting aluminum at a cheaper price. So they now can produce more, in theory, of whatever they make out of aluminum. And maybe they can hire extra people because their input costs have now declined. So anytime you see on the news, like, oh, tariff this, tariff that, tariff this, tariff that, it's not simple. It's extremely complicated.
100%.
Now, so about the tariffs, I don't know. I highly doubt it's 40,000 jobs are related to caused by 40,000 job losses by the tariffs. That would surprise me. These estimations, they're bad. Like these analyst expectations on these jobs, like these.
Well, they're throwing fucking darts in a wall.
They're throwing darts. You guys have talked about it numerous times. You guys are actually one of the first podcasts out there. Like I don't just listen to Bitcoin podcast, Len. I listen to like regular finance podcasts, and you guys were very, very early on these, like noticing about like all these data points that just didn't make sense, and the revisions. Well, you guys were early talking about these upward and downward revisions.
Yeah, Joey's talked about the Department of Downward Revisions.
yeah. You guys were extremely early on this, and you fucking nailed it. Like you absolutely nailed it on this, and they always tend to be skewed. I can't say always. There's definitely a skew to these revisions and to these numbers. It doesn't seem to be random.
It's not like they found a bunch of new ones. It's like, oh, we overstated, and it's even worse than it really is. And if that's the case with this one, if they follow the trend, if they revise this number, say, oh, you know what, 40K wasn't the exact number, it's actually 65K. It's like, what the fuck? And somebody in one of our chats said this number is significant because if this was the United States, if it translated to the United States, because of the factor of the people working in the workforce and the population, I think it's like a 10x, right? Like it's a $400,000 job loss if it was similarly predicted in the United States or reported. So that would have fucking tanked markets. Looking at this, and on top of this too, you have this report. Our prime minister is apparently on vacation. I'm not sure if you saw that. This week he's on hiatus, so he's doing some R&R because it's been a tough few weeks.
Do they have that trade deal with the U.S. yet? That like I'm on vacation, so I'm not really watching much of the news. Like, did we get that deal signed?
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah. It's when I can't say, but it's coming. And you know that Mark Carney, remember he took the position of what's that guy's name that they kicked out from running? I forget. Whatever the fuck is it?
Dahlia? That's Ruby Dahlia. That was the other guy.
It was the guy. So what was his fuck? Where the fuck he was?
You gotta get him on the show. He'll come on the show. What's he up to?
I can't even remember his fucking name, and I don't think he's gonna want to come on. Anyways, Carney doesn't even have a constituency office in the riding of Nepean. Nepean is where he ran, right? I think it is. Either way, he doesn't have an office there. That's incredible.
You seeing like the approval ratings are pretty high, though. You see those? I did see that popped up on my Twitter feed yesterday or today.
What does the people that he represents? How do they want to get any sort of help? I mean, do they have to just deal primarily or in totality with call-ins and emails? And they, if they have to go in and sign some documents, they have to go to the Hill office and do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I could go either way on this. Like, do you really need constituency offices if you're in the Ottawa area?
I can't say.
If you can just go to Parliament Hill and I don't know if this exists or not. I'm not dialed into the political stuff at all. But if there's a place where you can go in somewhere in downtown Ottawa that you could do the same things that you could do in a constituency office, does it really matter? Like downtown Ottawa is basically borders Nepean anyway. Or if you could go to a different office. If you can go to a constituent in the neighboring office, does every MP need a constituency office?
Good question. I don't know. I'm because I'm in the GTA. My vantage point is different than yours. So,
but these 40,000 jobs, then going back to that, it's not good. That is a bad number. That's an ugly number, and it's really telling that the estimates were off by so much. That's concerning to me.
Another one that could be concerning. This is from Juno News, and they did a access to information, and through that access to information, they learned that two-thirds of immigrants, including permanent residents, they were not making the minimum monthly payments on some loans. There are immigration loans that were handed out to the tune of $150 million. And the interesting thing about these loans is there's a zero interest on it. So they could just basically pay back what you collected from them or borrowed. And only 36% of recipients are making the minimum monthly payments as of March 31st, 2023. So that's 2 years ago and change. And we just, in the last story, we talked about the number of job losses. So that's transpired in the month of July of this year. So the economy clearly isn't trending in the right direction. I suspect that 36% that we're paying back in March of 2023, the number is probably lower, right? And for people wondering,
if you have debts outstanding and you have bills to pay, don't you think that the loan at 0% interest goes very low on your list of priorities of which one to pay back?
Well said, 100%. And for people wondering what the heck are these dollars, why are they handed out? Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada, they provide loans to some immigrants to help with travel and settlement costs. So that's part of the loans that are handed out to people. So that's, you can at least grasp why some of the loans are handed out. But you're 100% right. In terms of like, which one would you want to pay off the most? Well, generally the highest percentage ones, like credit card bills, shit like that. Maybe fucking payday loans or same-day loans, whatever the fuck they're called, that have predatory... They're like loan sharks. So that's what people would like to pay off first because they're the most crippling. And you're right, the one that has carried 0% interest rates, fuck that. That's back burner. We don't have to fucking pay that. Like,
do you think we're going to be able to get loans at 0% if we move to Alberta?
Do you think that Alberta is going to go through the process of separating?
I think there's going to be stuff. I don't know if it's ever going to come to fruition. I don't think it. I don't know. I mean, you guys had Dave Bradley on a couple of times. I don't know if you've had him on that recently because, I mean, Dave seems to be of the mind that it's going to go. I think there's going to be a lot of concessions. I think Ottawa is going to cave into a lot of Alberta's requests, and they're going to get a lot of the stuff they want. I think equalization payments are going to change. I think we're going to have a lot more provincial autonomy going forward. I think it's going to be a good thing.
Well, there's something going around to collect signatures, and if enough signatures are collected, then it could potentially go to a vote in Alberta. I have somebody that has boots on the ground over there. I don't want to name names, but he suspects that the percentage of people that want to leave Canada over there are probably around the 40% range. That's what he's thinking. So it's below majority. And John is saying, Doomberg is saying the Alberta stuff is just a game of chicken that is going to lead to make Ottawa bend the knee. All the equalization payments that are being sent out by Alberta to other provinces, it's got to be just pissing them off, you know?
Yeah, and it's not just about the payments. It's about getting their own police force. I think that's something that's going to happen.
Do they not have one, like a provincially?
Nope, they don't have. It's only Ontario and Quebec that have an Ontario police force.
And why doesn't Alberta have their own provincial police force? Is it because of legislation, or they just chose not to do it?
I just think they chose not to do it. But I think this type of thing is going to push towards that. Their own version of CRA. That's another thing they're going to want to do is their own CRA.
Remember they were talking about doing their own
tax collection.
CPP.
Yeah, CPP pension. That's happening. That's going to happen. That all that has to happen before Alberta separates. Basically, if you were Alberta, if you were like Dave Bradley and those guys who are actually pushing for separation, wouldn't you start off? You'd take a look at what's going on in Quebec, and you would ask for exactly the same thing they have plus other stuff, right? That would be like the starting point before you even talk about separation. You'd be like, yeah, I want my own pension. I don't want to be sending our tax dollars for Canadian pensions.
They control immigration in Quebec too.
Yeah, all of it. Wouldn't you want it? Well, how controlled is it? I'm not sure.
I think they got way more input than say other provinces.
Yeah, I think these are all things that Alberta are going to push for these things before they ever separate. It's going to take a long time, unless something strange happens. And at the end of the day, if the United States says no, you're not separating, or yes, you're separating, that's what's going to happen. Right?
And John makes a good point. He's saying Alberta is talking about taking back their share of the federal pension plan, essentially bankrupt the CBP. The CBP is doing, they're building out a new office in downtown Toronto. So I don't know the cost, but it was extraordinarily high. So good for them. And he's saying, John, in Quebec, they accept 50,000 immigrants of the 500,000 that comes to Canada. So that's 1/10. Is that are they 1/10 the population in Quebec? They
not
have
that far off. Isn't it 7 million in Quebec and there's 40 million people? So the math on that is more than a tenth, but it's not 20%.
Yeah. It's still kind of skewed in favor of them.
It's definitely skewed. But is anybody really checking those numbers? Like, how are those numbers checked?
He's saying Canada is 25% of the population.
Is it that high? 7? Isn't it just 7%? 7 million people?
I have no idea. Their population probably increased due to immigration as well in the past little while. I have no fucking clue. All I know is 40 million, 40 something, 41 million.
Yeah, 41 million.
I remember the days when it was like 27 million.
But how do they know that only 50,000 are in Quebec? Like you can move pretty freely in Canada.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Right?
Part of the Charter and Rights that you have the ability to move wherever the fuck you want. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
so
if I want to move to Saskatchewan, nobody's going to stop me to move to Saskatchewan.
So if you're a landed immigrant, you land in Quebec City, and you realize that you don't like speaking French and you don't want to be around French people, you just load up your car and you move to the GTA and you find a place in Oakville, right?
Yeah.
What's stopping anyone?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm not questioning John's number in the chat here. Like, I'm sure that's correct. Sounds about right. I just don't know how you enforce that at all. And I don't think those numbers really mean that much.
Do you remember
only 500K come to? Yeah, I guess that's 500K is about right.
So the way I recall, when they had the FLQ crisis back in the 70s, and there was talk of potential separation back then, Montreal was the most populated city in Canada at that time. I don't think Toronto was number one. I think Montreal, but I know a lot of businesses were set up in Montreal. A lot of them moved from Montreal to Toronto because they didn't know what's going to happen moving forward. So now, because of that too, I'm wondering what's going to happen. Oh, did we lose you, Boomer?
I'm still here. Did I lose the? Maybe you just lost my camera.
It's okay.
I'll try to fix this.
So I'm wondering if the same thing is going to happen in Alberta. If there's going to be some businesses that are going to pick up and move from Alberta to go somewhere else, just because of the potential stability that comes along with staying in Canada.
Or the other way around. Companies are going to move to Alberta because they don't want to deal with some of the things that we've talked about today, and that you and Joey talk about week in and week out.
Yeah, that's another point.
It seems like it's slightly less crazy out there. Maybe. Yeah. I don't think it's a lot better, but it's maybe a little bit better.
Well, let's talk about, I guess, one or two more stories and this bullshit coming up from the Fed. Everybody, I think, have seen this, where they might consider revaluing the gold reserves they have to market prices. And the question as to why they would do this could potentially use to buy something, maybe Bitcoin, but I won't go into that. Let's talk about the gold revaluation, because that's a lot of potential wealth that could be unlocked, right? And funding for shit, maybe funding the Z-Man or the Middle East war, shit like that. Those wall watchers, they got to keep happy. So this could potentially give them a whole new set of cash. The U.S. apparently holds 261 million troy ounces of gold. That's valued right now at $42 per ounce. That was set in 1973. The price of gold has changed significantly since 1973. The price of everything has changed since 1973. But either way, they have a book value of around $11 billion based off their number fudging. And if they change it to market price around $3,400 per ounce, that brings them to around $750 billion worth of gold that they're sitting on, if they have the gold, in fact. I think they do.
And what does that do to the US's 37 trillion in debt?
Very
much.
It just gives you a sense of the size, the scale of the debt, the federal debt, the funded debt at that. The unfunded is even higher. It just goes to show you, with all that fucking gold they have, they're potentially sitting on. I think they have it. It's just a drop in the bucket, considering how much fucking.
If they increase the price of gold, but through accounting, it's nothing more than just accounting. If they multiply it by 100, which is roughly what it is, right? From $42 to
I'll give you that. Okay,
so it's like you add a couple of zeros, right?
Yeah,
so you're adding 2 zeros. By adding 2 zeros to all the gold in Fort Knox, you are barely scratching the surface of the debt, the U.S. debt.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous. This gold reevaluation stuff. It kind of reminds me of like a couple of years ago when they were going to print that $1 trillion coin. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like they were just going to take like palladium or whatever, just like some. It's just pure fiat wizardry. Like it doesn't mean anything. Like it's just ridiculous. It's the same fucking gold. The gold that was in Fort Knox yesterday is the same Fort Knox that's going to be there after you revalue it. You put a couple of extra fucking zeros on a ledger somewhere. The gold has not changed. Nothing has changed. It's just like making a coin. You can print a coin and put all the 1 0 0 0 as many zeros as you want and call it whatever you want. It doesn't mean anything. Like real wealth, the wealth of nations, has nothing to do with this. Like it's the stuff you make, right? It's the stuff you have. It's the stuff you do. Your goods and services in your economy. Accounting doesn't do anything to this. And even at that, it's from $42 to $3,400, and it goes. What's the number again? It would take it to like
from 11 billion to 750 billion.
750 billion. So 750 billion divided by 37 trillion. It's like what? Like 1%? About 1%, right?
It just goes to show you how big the debt is.
Yeah, it takes the debt down by 1%.
Yeah. And beyond that,
it's so ridiculous.
Theoretically, if they were to unlock this gold and they were to somehow bring it to market, the price of the gold per ounce is going to tank. Just because
probably.
You're just flooding it with so much.
They're not going to take it to market. They don't
going to
want
borrow
to do that.
against it or something.
Yeah, they're going to borrow against it. That's what they're. That's it. Like you just said it. They're going to borrow against it. It's recollateralizing it, right? So they'll borrow against it at 100x, 10x, whatever. I don't know. Like it's recollateralizing. They're not going to sell any of this stuff. And do we even know it's there? I remember making a meme about like 18 months ago from like the old DX, DX from WWF version. And I made this meme about like, it was you and Joey and Mark Jekovic and the guys in the chat. We were like the DX crew from WWE back in 1999 on the Jeep. And we were going to go. We were all going to go to Fort Knox. We were all going to go to Fort Knox, just like Triple H and the rest of the boys did when he went to WCW to try to get in. And we're going to go audit. We're going to go audit Fort Knox. Is it even there?
That's another promise. Remember, 47 was saying that what the fuck's going on? We there's no fucking auditing going on. We have, and I'll say it again. I've said it twice. I just want to say I do believe they have the gold. Like, and I'm gonna almost quote Joey. He says maybe not to the exact ounce, but they probably have just about all the gold they have. Like, yeah.
Well, I think the U.S. is more off. I think the U.S. is more likely to have the gold they say they have than England is. I do. Did you ever see the wait times for like people trying to get gold out of London?
I'll be honest, I don't follow the gold market that close, so I don't know. So now, at the time when there's a huge amount of gold being taken out of the London gold market, the wait times are now going up astronomically.
You've never had Tom Jekovic, not Jekovic, Tom Rodrowicz on your show. He's Canadian. He hosts like the best gold podcast in the world, I think, like Palisades Gold Radio. So
I used to be a gold guy. I don't give a fuck about it.
Yeah, Tom's great. The Canadian guy, like I wouldn't call him a Bitcoiner, but he does get Bitcoin a little bit. Like he's a gold guy. He's not like a completely against Bitcoin. He'd totally be on he'd totally do your show. He seems like a great guy too. No, like he follows this stuff all the time. And he said like the wait times to get physical delivery from gold out of London went from a couple of days to a couple of weeks to a couple of months. Like it's getting harder and harder to get your gold back. And a few years ago, 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was, when you deposit your own gold, you want your own gold back, right?
Yeah.
Where you apply to get your own gold back. You used to get the same brick.
Yeah.
Like now you're not getting the same bricks.
Oh, so you sign it, you send it in, somebody else's signature. So what the fuck? This is somebody else's bar.
You're getting your bars, you're getting the weight back of your gold, but you're not getting the exact brick. That's suspicious.
And that they're talking about, I'm not sure if they put up tariffs on these gold bars coming out of 39%. That's another thing why I like Bitcoin. How the fuck are you going to tariff Bitcoin? Right, you just can't do it. But gold, they could certainly do it, and it's another nail in a coffin for why anybody would, for me with gold. Like, there's just no reason to consider it as a store of value. That just makes no sense, because in actually holding on to it, it's bullshit. It becomes a burden, and then sending it over space is it's a burden, and then verifying it's gold. It's a fucking burden. Like, fuck that. Bitcoin solves all the problems. So you get your 15-year-old laptop like I am. I could verify Bitcoin. I could send Bitcoin with that. I could broadcast a transaction just with modest hardware. But gold's time has passed. Yeah, for sure.
It did its like. Let's give gold its respect though. Like, it did work for a while until it didn't, and it's been a while now since it hasn't worked, and we've had this dark age between gold failing probably around World War I. Some people say 1971, might even be a little bit before, maybe 1913 with the what happened in Jekyll Island. Maybe somewhere around there, gold failed. So we've had 100 years basically of dark ages, but now we have something better. So Bitcoin is looking forward, gold is looking backwards.
I bring up this periodically as to why I'm very down on gold, is because what happened with Russia and Venezuela, each of them tried to repatriate the gold that they had in London vaults, and they were told, no, you can't get access to it because of what you've done on an international level. And as a result, not your vault, not your gold. Right?
Not the first time either.
Right.
There are plenty. Right. There are countless examples of gold falling into the wrong hands.
Imagine they just simply had Bitcoin instead and had those keys themselves. You know what? They could do whatever they want with it. They want to send it to an address somebody belongs to it in Venezuela. The Russians could do that, and vice versa. They could send it from Venezuela back to Russia or whatever the fuck you.
Settlement at the same time as transactions. So I think it's Lynn Alden that wrote it in her book, right? She said that her argument is that gold failed once we developed the telegraph. So once we made the telegraph, we could create transactions over long. You could somebody in North America could make a transaction with somebody in Europe right, through telegraph. But you couldn't settle that transaction until the gold actually, was shipped from London to New York, right? So transactions became faster than settlement. Well, with Bitcoin, it's instantaneous. They both occur at the same time. So settlement and transaction occur at the same time.
Lynn Alden has a baseball bat or not?
I say no. I'm a fan.
Was it after like something was done or born like that, came out of the factory like that?
Look, I'm not going to say anything negative about Lynn Alden.
It's not just speculation.
No. You're not going to get it. Not going to get it out of me. Like no. In my honest opinion, I literally think she's like the best financial analyst on the planet.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything to the contrary.
I'm just curious. I just found it to be a topic that I'd like to. Well, I guess one last topic. Any thoughts on the dildos that are being tossed in the WNBA?
So what color do you think is next?
We've had
green twice or three times.
Yeah,
so we've only had purple.
We've had a purple.
We had a purple. Yeah, we had purple.
I'm gonna go back to this tried, tested, and true green.
Green.
Yeah.
Did you see the nets that they're now?
I thought that was a fucking.
WNBA now are putting nets around the court.
I thought that was a fucking joke.
No, I think it's.
I honestly thought until I saw the fucking picture of that. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Right, like
it's the Iron Dildome. I wish that was mine. I can't take credit for that. That's just so good. That's not mine. It was like somebody on Twitter.
And it's incredible that they're doing this. How people are smuggling it in, I don't want to know, but good for them because
But you know what? Then people are talking about the WNBA. Like if I were
in
them,
a way
if I were them, and there are players that are doing this, that are taking it with a grain of salt and are having fun with this, and the players that are doing that are being rewarded on social media with follows and retweets and all that stuff. Like it's a sport at the end of the day, and like we can sit here and talk about women's sports. Me personally, I know you're a tennis player. I prefer watching women's tennis than men's tennis.
It's so bad.
I like, at least back in the day, I don't watch a whole lot of tennis anymore, but back in the day when Serena Williams, I liked watching women's tennis more because the rallies were a little bit longer. It wasn't just big serve. Like it's not that I don't like women's sports. It's not that at all. Like I think women should be able to play whatever sports they want. I don't care. But it doesn't translate that well in basketball. WNBA is not. It's not great viewing. Not that I've watched a ton of WNBA, but it doesn't.
Have you watched more than a nanosecond? And if it's so, that's more than I have.
Yeah, I've watched more than a nanosecond, but not a whole lot more. Fuck? So you got this sport that's not doing that well, this league that's not doing that well, and there's attention on the league. Maybe not for the greatest reason, but just have fun with it. Like it's just entertainment. It's summer. There's no fucking sports going on other than baseball. Nobody gives a shit about baseball anyway. Just have fun with it.
You have this mentality. Pay us what the heck? I forget the exact thing.
Yeah, they want us what we're owed or what we deserve or whatever.
If you're not drawing, if nobody's watching, it's revenue generating stuff that you have to look at. That's what you're gonna get paid on. If nobody's buying tickets, if nobody's fucking watching it on TV and paying for the rights to broadcast it, you should be paid based off that, right? Off sponsorships, off all this shit. That's just free market. That's the way things operate, right? If nobody wants to watch, you're worth not like I could go play basketball. I can tell you there's going to be exactly 0 people watching it, and I can't go out there and say, "Please pay me for what I'm worth." I'm fucking worth nothing to play basketball, right? That's the reality of it.
But you got dozens of people that watch your podcast every Monday night, and that's why you guys make. That's why you guys make the big bucks from Easy DNS and from Bull Bitcoin. That's why. Right.
But one thing is nobody's throwing fucking dildos at us.
Not yet.
Right. Well, as soon as I leave the basement, who the fuck knows what happens? I got to fucking fend this shit off like it's snow coming from the sky. All right. I think that's it before we get fucking demonetized here. Anyways, any last words before we sign off here?
Always great to be a part of the show. Anytime you need me, just let me know. I'll find it. as far as Twitter, find me on Twitter. The Ruler's Broken on Twitter. I was also a guest on Rock Paper Bitcoin this past week. So yeah, we talked about you guys a little bit. Nothing but good things. Talked about like you guys are just one of the best shows. Like I said it to them, and I'll say the same thing to you guys. You guys, in my opinion, you're 2 of the 3 best podcasts, Bitcoin podcasts going right now.
It's the ones that have fun, I think, are the best. The ones, you know,
yeah,
just,
and it's personality as well. You know, you and Joey have great chemistry together. You guys you don't take things too seriously. As far as I'm concerned, you're the best podcast out there that covers the news for sure.
Number one, brother.
For sure.
Number one.
So I'm just glad to be a part of the team in any way I can possibly be.
I appreciate you're our number one fan, and you're always first under the bullpen whenever there's an opportunity. So thanks for coming on, Boomer.
Anytime.
And with that, we're done. We'll be back at this again Monday. I don't think we have a show this Wednesday. So take care, and we'll see you all next week.